Kyaje Thubten Trinley.
Your holy mind and my mind, O Father. Your holy qualities and my qualities, O Father. Kyaje Trijang. Your holy actions and my actions. O Father, please bless me. Qualities and actions.
Madra, your whole mind, qualities and actions. Dorje.
Aga Samarasa Chandarasa Maraya Kayata Gadenga
Nyodo Jolo Jo Xin Jala Dima La Ja Nyodo Jabo Na Deva Gunji Chujo Doji Namba Dela Nyodo Jabo Xin Jala Dezi Ngojo Na Nye Zhe Nada Nazi Namba Sam Jima Mi Bi Ngi Bo Nye Ja Nye Soda Dede So Xin Jala Dene Jede Nimba Din Dena Jiye Donye Zimba Ye所以这我心结了的到那个点别心的那作业这边中那家的也就那也把到去，你我就我心结老头子就我跟大样的老马当真别解决别老那解决啥，那多年多结上给过我娘都难入。
Sanje Chedo Soje Chonala Chonjo Bado Dane Chasoje Dake Chiche Jibe Senamaje Rola Benjo San Robara Cho Sanje Chedo Soje Chonala Chonjo Bado Dane Chasoje Dake Chiche Jibe Senamaje Rola Benjo San Robara Cho Sanje Chedo Soje Chonala Chonjo Bado Dane Chasoje Dake Androla Benjo San Robara Cho La do la me me do mo je yong bo so ja jo la so chi jo cho la cha wa che ba na san je sun ba ra do je je de je je wan da da je je tang bie jin ye zhen nan de je nam mo la ye ge do la do ne je ge zhu da do me ye ge no da ro wa gun je zha na che za wa tang je ge do da ge ji den do tang je ge do da ge ji den do
So, as the great Lama Chopa said, so just as was said, there are 4 points in the verse. In essence, after relying correctly upon the Guru, after practicing correctly Guru Yoga of relying correctly upon the Guru, taking the view of Buddha such as the 3 main aspects of the path and the Mahamudra, so such as the view of Buddha. So once finding, so we need to study well and to understand well the teachings of Buddha, from that make an extensive comprehension, and from that meditation. Once make then by after that, once practicing correctly the teachings of Buddha by listening, comprehending and meditating, by putting into practice the Dharma teaching, once completing well the practice of the teachings of Buddha, may I be able to spread the teachings of Buddha. There are 4 points into this point. So many things were taught in essence, but the first of all, as the root of the path, is the practice of the Guru Yoga. So once finding this, they need to be studying and find certainty in the teachings of Buddha by listening, comprehending and meditating. Once having completed one's own practice, by listening, comprehending, and most of all meditating, it's mainly through meditation, by developing small attachment and satisfaction and correct morality, and so in many aspects, when really practicing really well oneself, then after that maybe we will be able to spread and share the teachings of the Buddha in all directions. So was said by Lama Tsongkhapa. So it's very important for us to keep this into our own mind. So just as was said yesterday, as Ganden Mahamudra said, seem very similar as to what Lama Tsongkhapa said, keeping it into mind. Each one should put it into practice just as it was said. is like the root of our own practice. By keeping this into mind today, I will give you a transmission. First, I will give a direct transmission of the subjects of the Lam Rim, which is called like the naked explanation or the bare explanation of the subjects of the Lam Rim Nyurlam. Lam Rim Nyurlam is the quick path to enlightenment. And after, I will just give some short explanation regarding each one of the subjects. So first I will give the oral transmission on the subject, so I will just go through it. I myself lamas and teachers and geshes here. Explaining that these teachings as they come from the second, third part is how to listen correctly to the teachings of Buddha, the way of listening to the teachings, the ways of explaining the teachings, such as abandoning the three faulty containers and developing the six awarenesses to listen to the teachings. Second is the correct way of teaching the Dharma. The correct way of listening to the Dharma from the point of view of thought and action. Second is the part of how to dedicate one's own merits. Now it's at the actual path, such as first, starting with how to rely correctly upon the Guru. Then you can start with the preliminaries, such as preparing the place of practice, making the offerings. Third, sitting in a comfortable position with the 7 or 8 postures of Avairachana, and by generating a clean and pure mind, taking refuge, generating the merit field, purifying all negativities by making the 7 limb prayers and mandala offering. And sixth, making prayer requests. And second is the actual practice, understanding the benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru, the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru. Then comes how to rely upon the Guru through actions. Again, the benefits of relying correctly through actions. Recognizing how the Guru is inseparable from all the Buddhas, how is an emanation of all the Buddhas. Understanding how by making offerings to the Buddha, when we make offerings to the Guru, we make offerings to all the Buddhas. Second is the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru through one's own actions. The Sangha is the way of relying correctly on the Guru through one's own mind, such as seeing the Guru as the Buddha, as recognizing by seeing the Buddha, seeing as the Guru is the one that does the actions of all the Buddhas. Also understanding the endless of certainty of one's own perception. And the second is developing gratitude to the kindness of the Guru, understanding the Guru is more kind than all the Buddhas together.
And it's the essence of the relying upon the Guru through actions such as following well correctly the Guru's advices. Second is how to train one's own mind. First, recognizing the preciousness of this life and how to gain the essence of this life. First, recognizing the preciousness of this life. Understanding the preciousness, how it's rare and difficult to find, and how to gain its essence. First, understanding that we have freedom. We have the freedom of not being reborn in the places such as the lower realms of existence, or without the minimum conditions. And then what we have, the leisure, what we have gained, the richness that we have in this life, such as having correctly our senses, having met with the Buddha teachings, and so on. So as we are in the time of Buddha, the time of Buddha have taught the Dharma, the teachings have not been degenerated, that we're able to enter into such teachings, and that we have from our side also the wish to follow and to practice such and to do such practices. Second is understanding how this precious life is so meaningful. Third is understanding how it's rare and difficult to find such good human rebirth with all the necessary conditions. Second is gaining the essence of this life, which is divided into the small scope, the middle scope, and the greater scope. The first scope is first understanding impermanence and the certainty of death. And so first of all, that understanding impermanence is understanding the faults of not being aware of one's own mortality, and the benefits of being aware of one's own mortality. And here next, the 6 benefits of being aware of one's own mortality. Third is how to be aware, how to reflect and be aware of one's own mortality. So first is understanding the certainty of death, and understanding the uncertainty of the uncertainty of the moment of death. Next, understanding the certainty of the uncertainty of the moment of death. Third is understanding then the moment of death, the only thing that is of benefit is the practice of Dharma itself, and nothing else can help us other than the Dharma. Next is thinking about future lives first, understanding the general and the specific sufferings of samsara, of the higher realms of existence and the lower realms of existence. Thinking about the sufferings of the hell realms, of the hungry gods, of the animal realms. First, thinking about the sufferings of the hell realms. Second is thinking about the sufferings of the hungry ghosts. the general sufferings of the hungry ghost realm and the specific sufferings of the hungry ghost realm. Third is thinking about reflecting upon the sufferings of the animal realm. Second is showing the method of how to gain a positive rebirth in the future lives. So showing first there is refuge, explaining the nature of refuge, on what's the actual object of refuge, the benefits of taking refuge. Understanding the three jewels, recognizing the three jewels and seeing the three jewels are the ones that have the ability to give us refuge from the sufferings of samsara. So now he's taking refuge by understanding the qualities of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. So first understanding the qualities of Buddha, the qualities of the Dharma and the qualities of the Sangha. First explaining the qualities of Buddha's body, speech, mind, quality and actions. So he's taking refuge by understanding the need of refuge and the benefits of it. Third is how taking the commitment of taking refuge. Fourth is the benefits of taking refuge. 8 benefits of taking refuge. Fifth is the advices or the commitments of taking refuge. So that then there are the specific advices and the general advices or commitments. Second is explaining the root of all happiness, which is the understanding of the law of cause and effect of karma. Understanding the 4 aspects of the karma, which is the certainty of karma. In fact, Lama Chopa, without action there is no result. There is no result without having a cost, and the increasing of karma. Now it's explaining now the different types of actions, of positive and negative actions. Now it's explaining the types of results. For the third is explaining the different ways how the karma gets strong. Like, for example, the karma is strong by the power of the field, by the power of the basis, and the power of the action itself, by the power of the motivation. Now third is explaining the ways of how to purify one's own negative karma, showing the four powers of purification. With this we have completed the subjects of the small scope and how to train the mind on the smaller scope. Second is how to train the mind on the medium scope. Generating the mind that wishes to be free from samsara. So first is recognizing on the first Four Noble Truths. First, understanding the First Noble Truth of suffering by meditating on understanding the general sufferings of samsara, meditating on the sufferings of the lower realms and the upper realms. The lower realms have already gone before, so next is reflecting upon the sufferings of the higher realms of samsara, such as that of the human realms, the semi-gods and the gods. First starting the explanation of the sufferings of the human realm. Now is understanding the meaning of liberation of samsara, first explaining how the mental defilements are the causes of suffering, understanding how the root and the secondary mental defilements are the root of our suffering. Understanding next how we turn into the real samsara through the 12 links of interdependence. Such as so he's explaining how samsara works by the perspective of the 12 links of interdependence. Third is explaining how we die and how we are reborn, the process of death and rebirth. Second is explaining the actual path to liberation, showing the general path and the specific path. Third is explaining how to train the mind on the greater scope of Mahayana path. There are three ways of training the mind into the Mahayana path. So first is understanding that the entrance door of the Mahayana is the generation of the mind of bodhicitta to love and compassion. How to generate bodhicitta. Once generating bodhicitta, how to train into the path of the bodhisattva. There are two ways of training into the bodhicitta. First is by training the 7 causes and the result of the training, and by equalizing and exchanging self with others. Second is also generating the mind, training the mind on equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. Third is the method of how to practice by uniting the two systems of recognizing of the 7 cause and result, and equalizing oneself with others in order to generate the bodhicitta. Second is how to take the vows of the Bodhisattva. Third is one having taken, generating the Bodhisattva Madhicitta mind, and how the taking the Bodhisattva vows, how to practice the path of the Bodhisattva. How to practice the general path of the Bodhisattva, and how to practice the specific path of the perfections. And how to practice on the specific path of the Vajrayana. So far as explaining each one, how to practice in each one of the 6 perfections, such as the practice of generosity, and second, the practice of morality, third, the practice of patience, third, how to practice on effort, fourth, how to practice on effort, fifth, how to practice on samadhi concentration, sixth, how to practice on wisdom. There are 3 parts on that. How to develop the wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, how to realize the wisdom that realizes the conventional reality. And how to develop the wisdom that acts for the benefit of sentient beings. Second, how to help to mature the mind of other sentient beings. Which is practicing generosity, speaking correctly, acting in accordance to one's own words, and being coherent, consistent with one's own explanations. Second is how to explanations to conclude the path, which is explaining how to develop shamatha and how to develop vipassana regarding the correct view of reality. So how is explaining more detailedly the subjects of how to develop shamatha, karma binding, and how to develop later vipassana, profound view. First, how to treat the causes in order to develop shamatha, and then explaining the 9 stages of shamatha. Explaining the 9 stages of mind. Second is how to develop the profound view or vipassana regarding the correct view of reality. How to realize the lack of inherent existence of the self, and how to realize the lack of inherent existence of phenomenon. With this we complete the subjects of the Mahayana path of the greater scope, mind training. So now Ramesh is reading the part of the dedication of the printing.
Nagin Kimbo ne Shende go Jodon Gelon Lotene go Macho Pula Gilepils. Oh, yeah, Tigata.
So, in this way, we will now start short explanation on the subjects of the quick path to enlightenment, Lam Rim subject. We cannot go into many details. It is extremely extensive, but according to my thoughts, all the subjects were already existing before from Takpa Lama Rinpoche, but Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang, he put some little extra notes on it, making it more extensive and more clear. So, but then he made the long version of the subjects of the Lam Rim Marche. So as was Rinpoche, I'm just going to share with you some of my understanding on it and my thoughts about it. So first is understanding the greatness of the teachings and the composer. This is of great benefit. The first understanding that the teachings are like the essence of all Buddha's teachings, that they are not, there is no contradiction, and this is important. So first, understanding that there is no contradiction between the teachings, understanding that the Lam Rim is the essence of all Buddha's teachings and is an easy way how to put into practice. Understanding that all the teachings of Buddhas they were giving in order to help each person, each sentient beings to gain a state of liberation. If we understand that, we understand there is no contradiction within the teachings. Second, we understand that within the advices of the Guru, specific teachings, it's like there is all the essence of all Buddha teachings for one's own practice. But as we understand, there is only say that by easily that we can understand the thought of Buddha, which is the actual, the thought of ultimate thought of Buddha is the Mahamudra, or the correct view of reality, which is the thought of Buddha such as the refuge, bodhicitta, the correct view, the understanding of law of karma. These are all the thoughts of Buddha. Developing a true faith in the law of karma, developing a state of renunciation, the state of bodhicitta, the correct view of reality. If we need to understand it clearly and put it into practice well. By that we can easily gain the state of Buddhahood. if we do it in this way, by this that we will have no lack of faith or on the teachings. We will naturally develop faith in the Buddhas, and we will never develop trust in the teachings. As the Lam Rim, it has the essence of all the teachings of the sutras and the tantras. We have shown the essence of it without lacking any aspect of it, such as from the Undogyen, as the like in the Undogyen, which the Abhisama Alankara is only the part of sutra, in the Guya Samaja Tantra is only the part of tantra. In the Lam Rim, there is the essence of both the sutra and the tantra without letting any part of Buddha's teachings aside. Yes. Having the instructions from Lama Atisha, which brings the lineage of he is called of Rikpik Kuchon. There were two lamas, the bigger and the smaller. He is talking about the smaller. So it's a special dharma that comes bringing the essence of the teachings of Nagarjuna and Asanga. If we learn well on the Lam Rim, it will really help us to tame well our own mind, to direct well the mind. So it's the main method is to tame one's own mind, to direct one's own mind. That's the main. So. So the teachings of Lam Rim and Lojong and Mahamudra is especially good because especially for one's own practice, generally speaking. We should not go into what is called this Chitrik Kurva. Chitrik is when basically it becomes only conceptual and we lose because mainly when we understand little bit the meaning of the teachings, and then we lose truly the faith. And okay, whoever teaches, so we say, yeah, this I understood, that I understood. This I understood. Okay, there is nothing else, nothing new to say. This I already know. When we think in this way, this is not good at all. This is what we call in Tibetan Chitrik. This means that even if we develop this attitude of like indifference and towards the teaching of Lam Rim, then there is no method. By learning well in the Lam Rim, if our faith gets stronger, our respect gets stronger, and by that we can really touch our deeper states of our mind. By having faith and respect to the teachings, by that of listening, comprehending, meditating. Otherwise, if we just think, oh, I know already a little bit, or there's nothing new to say, and we develop with this, then there is no benefit to one's own mind. We need to make in a way that is true benefit for one's own mind, and each one we need to think about that. So that's why the teachings of Lam Rim is mainly as a way of to tame one's own mind, of transforming of one's own mind. And it's easy to put into practice. As we do in the prayers, as Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang said, we need to put the imprints of the Tantra within us, and we need to keep the commitments, and we need to put good imprints of the Tantra. It is very important to put the imprints of the Tantra on our path. This is very specific of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings. And we need to beat all the imprints But we cannot base our practice only in the Tantra. We must first of all practice well the practice of the Lam Rim and the Lojong. So for that, the main part of practice for us is a part of the Lam Rim and the Lojong. I think it's very good to think in that way. In order for not to develop this sort of indifference to the Dharma, Chutrik. If we have developed this sort of indifference to the teaching, then we don't have no respect, and we're not careful in our practice. Instead, we need to be very careful to really practice in the best way as we can, by having no indifference to the teachings. Dharma is something incredible. In the past, if we look how the great masters practice into the Dharma is the same. How the great masters of the past would practice, and how they were able to develop within themselves, and how they could help other sentient beings in sharing the Dharma and so on. Similar to that, we also need to do at our times the same thing. Because of time and our own mental attitude and so on, we may think, oh, it's not possible to do as the great masters of the past. We cannot do as they did in the past. But we need to do as much as we can. And we need to pray and we need to pay respect to the teachings. We need to be careful as much as we can. So in that way. So the actual point. When I was receiving the teachings from Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang, he started teachings. So I started actually, okay, how to go through the teachings, how to listen into the teachings. That's the first part where when I just first received the commentary started from this. We don't need to go through this right now, which is how the correct way of listening to the Dharma and so on. You all know it quite well. Now we're actually entering into the benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru. The 8 benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru. If we think well about the benefits of relying correctly upon it, then we would like to rely correctly upon the Guru. So first we need to think about the benefits. So in essence, there are the 8 benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru. Now here is only the subjects when you take in the Lam Rim, such as liberation in the palm of your hand. There are all the details of all of this. If you have time, if you should take mainly the subjects, and then between that you should go to take the great exposition of the Lam Rim, the Lama Chopa, and the Lam Rim Lajang, and then put together and understand it clear. By relying upon the Guru. First benefit is that if you follow well, if you rely correctly upon the Guru and you follow well his advices, you reach the state of Buddhahood. Second, if you make offerings to the Guru and maybe you make happy all the Buddhas and make offerings to all the Buddhas. Third, by you cannot be harmed by harmful spirits if you regular and by negative friendships if you rely correctly upon the Guru. When you can make offerings to the Guru and make the Guru happy by that, it is just like as if you're making of it, you accumulate great merits out of that. As it says in the prayers, I said the because the Guru is the essence of all the Buddhas in the body, which embodies the essence of all Buddhas, and which is the actual Guru, the spiritual, virtuous friend, as it's called. As I said, it is to remember that the Guru is the central of the three jewels. As this is also said in the root, in the temple of Hirokachaka Sambhara. So when we rely correctly upon the Guru and we follow all his advices, then the Guru is happy about that. And then, oh, my Guru, my disciple is following well, he's doing well, this will make him happy. When the Guru is happy, all the Buddhas become happy. Like in the monasteries before, we would have representatives of the monastery that would be sent to different places. When they will be happy, or the monasteries will all be happy, and similar to that, when you have the representative of the Buddhas, which is the Guru, when he is happy, then all the Buddhas, they will also be happy. For example, as Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang used to say, all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, if they like to make an offering, if you offer like a cup of tea to your own root Guru, it's like offering tea to all the Buddhas. When you make offerings to the Guru, it's like making offerings for all the Buddhas. Because all the Buddhas reside within the body of the Guru. So when you make offerings and to make the Guru happy, you're making offerings and making happy all the Buddhas. Thank goodness, by relying correctly upon the Guru, you cannot be harmed by outer spirits and so on, because they depend also on the Guru, because the external harmful, also one's own negative, for example, negative friendship and so on, like in the monastery and so on. Oh, I have my teacher, I cannot do this, otherwise my teacher will be unhappy. When we are very near to the Guru, then we need to be more careful, which is our own attitudes and behaviors. So we are protected from our negative behavior once we are near to the Guru. Because by looking at the face of one's own Guru, we cannot do so many stupid things. So in this way, whatever way it's helping not to do those that are always like being careful to face that onto the Guru. So it helps us not to go with external negative influences, and also when we are near to the Guru, it should help also to make our own inner demons to get smaller, like our defilements, such as attachment and aversion. They will get smaller and smaller also. Now is the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru, the 8 faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru. So if you harm the Guru, it's like harming all the Buddhas. His 8 faults is explained in the commentary. His exact words on the commentary of Chandrakirti. If you harm the Guru, it's like harming all the Buddhas. You are getting angry towards the Guru. It is like a very strong negative karma. If you do not rely correctly on the Guru, even though if you practice well the Tantra, there is no benefit. If you study well and you try to do the practice of Tantra, there is no benefit of all. On practice Tantra, if you do not rely correctly upon the Guru, if you break up your relation, if you give up your reliance upon the Guru, then this is of very harmful, especially related to practice of the Tantra. We live in times of degenerations. From every aspect of time and place, we are in times of degeneration. Sometimes our own mind gets a little bit down, so we need to be a little bit think, okay, we really need to be careful, we need to do the best. If we are not careful, each one of us, we are the ones that gain, they get the most harm out of it. So by keeping our mind within, we need really to be careful in our own actions and thoughts. So next extent, how to rely correctly upon the Guru. So how to see first the Guru as a Buddha. Why do we need to see? Why we need to see the Guru as the Buddha? What Trijang Rinpoche used to say, you need to see the Guru as the Buddha. The reason for that, because we gain a lot of benefit, and there is no harm for us by saying that. We gain benefit from it. We do not gain faults of it. We don't. We need to see the Guru as the Buddha. We have only benefits from it, only profit of it. We have no any harm, no any negative aspect from that. Why is the reason why? Then the next place is that we can truly see the Guru as the Buddha. Why it's possible to see? Because it's just that our mind is not familiarized to see the Guru as the Buddha. Once we get familiarized, then it's easy. For the fourth aspect is understanding that our own perception, there is no certainty of our own perception. Like in the Tantra it says, the ordinary appearance and the grasping at such an ordinary appearance is our own fault. So there is no certainty in one's own perception. Our perception is all based on inherent existence. What exists we see as non-existent, what is the non-existent we see as existent. We have most of it is like wrong ways of perception. So we have no certainty of our own perception. There is no certainty at all in our own perception. It's very impure in our own impure perception. Because we don't have much merits also then, because of that reason also, it's very difficult to have, we only have like a negative appearances. Because once we accumulate very, very good merits, then we can have a more pure and a very much better perception of reality, appearance of reality. When we go with many other people, we see some people have a better way of thinking, some people have a worse way of thinking. Have many different ways of perception and appearance. This is coming depending on the merits of each one of us. On this we need to really be careful. What we see, what happened to us, the good or bad to us, it's based on our own karma. That the negative things is because our own negative karma on the past. And because of that, We have now a negative appearance. Why we have this appearance of reality is because of our own karma. So we need to understand that the uncertainty of one's own appearance, of one's own perception. So if we think of Buddha Shakyamuni, he was a person, a human being, son of a king, a human being. He was an actual human being, if we think well. Yes, but still he was an actual Buddha. Also said to be like the manifestation of all the Buddhas. He said to be that all the mother, the father, the son of Buddha, and some sutras said they were all emanations of Buddhas. If we think in a way, they were actual human beings. But in the moment that we see as the actual Buddha, sure, Buddha Shakyamuni was an actual Buddha, there's no doubt of that. If we think also in our own Guru, he's also a human being. That he does as Buddha taught the Dharma, he's also teaching us the Dharma. He's the one that he's really showing us the pathway to act in accordance to virtue. He's very similar like to Buddha. Very similar to Buddha Shakyamuni. So by that we need to develop the awareness of seeing the Guru as the actual Buddha. Seeing as an actual Buddha. We need to develop this discernment. It's important to understand as Lam Rim, we have no certainty of our own perception, our own appearance. It's truly like that. We have no certainty of our appearance. Everything that appears to us appears as being of inherent existence, as we saw during the Mahamudra. Our own appearance is something that we need to block as an object of negation, which is the appearance of inherent existence. And when you think on Mahamudra, so this appearance that we need to block as the object of negation, at the same time we truly trust on it very much. So we need to be careful. We need to really remember that we cannot trust on our own appearance. There is no certainty of all on our perceptions and appearance. So we need to think in that way. As the Guru is the one that is acting for the benefit of sentient beings, making. If we really think well, if we think about there is Idam and many famous things, but the one who is really showing us the Dharma and guiding us is the Guru, no one else. We know that. There are many special Idams, but they're not really teaching us the Dharma. It's like Vajradhara is very precious, very sacred, but it's not here teaching us that Hiroka Chakra Sambhara is not, we are not able to see directly Hiroka Chakra Sambhara. Who is the one who is really teaching us is the Guru. We need to think in that way. So by that we need to understand the kindness, the great kindness of the Guru. So once we see one's own Guru as the actual Buddha, so we need to see our own Guru, so he saw his own Guru as the actual Buddha. So the same we do also ourselves. For example, Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang, he used to see Paponka Dechen Nimpo as the actual Hiroka Chakra Sambhara. Our Geshe Thubten, for example, they would sing both Trishan Rinpoche and Paponka Rinpoche as the actual Buddhas, as actual Hiroka. So in such way, if we look to such great masters, if they had such attitude of seeing their gurus as actual Buddhas, so we also need to do. We have no much wisdom, we have no much understanding. We are very poor in this sense. But at least we need to develop this state of mind. Such great masters of the past, they were really developing such state of mind, of seeing the Guru as being the actual Buddha. So we need also to develop the same way. We need to think as much as we can in accordance with the actual Dharma teachings, not so much with our own way of thinking very often. Each one of us, we have different mentalities, different ways. Somehow have better mentality, better character, worse character. If we have the best part of our character mind, we need to develop more. I want to keep my mind in a positive way. With a good character, I'm going to abandon the negative aspects of my mind. That's important also. The next part is recognizing the preciousness of this life, recognizing the leisures and the richness of this life. When we call about the first the talva, which means the leisures, that we have time to practice the Dharma, we have space to truth. We were free from the lack of time, from the as a human being and as a non-human being, for example. We are free from being reborn in the hell realm, in the hungry gods, in the animal realm, and in the long life gods. Because this is on the other way. We all have received this very special human rebirth, but not all can practice that in the same way. We talk the 10 chapters, we talk about the 8 leisures and the 10 richness. There are many different ways of having time and space. As with the many different levels on these conditions. Like we and between us and the Bodhisattva have the same body, but it's very different type of conditions. So for example, as Milarepa, with such great effort and strength. His great beings really are not uncommon. It doesn't matter how many difficulties they go through, they were able to overcome them. We depend like being able to stay without sickness, stable. They have also human bodies such as ours, but their body is not the same. These great beings, their body is more precious, is more stable. Ours, myself, we are not able to do in this way. We stay in the big monasteries but there are many people in my same monastery. If I tell the history of them, it will take a lot of time. But they're incredible practitioners. Really, really very good examples. For example, Kyarup, from my same class, there was one monk called Kyarup from Narikamsen. He was from third region, on the central Tibet. When he first arrived in the monastery, he had a good already basic knowledge of grammar and so on. When he first arrived in the monastery, there was no one truly helping him, he was very much by himself. And here he arrived in the monastery, he studied well, he had a good knowledge, his name was Kyarup. Later he was just making a lot of accumulative, he was making a lot of drukchuma. He had no money for anything, had no money at all. He was an older monk. He was together with us also as an older monk. He had only the only clothes he was wearing in his body. He had nothing else, only the body, only the clothes in his body. He had no blankets, no anything, just a very, very, very basic cushion. Nothing else he had. Had no any specific text in his own. He had nothing. Nothing of him. Not any place even where to put tea or anything. Completely nothing in his room. So he would go early in the morning to make the 60 offerings of Karupa in the morning. And after that, that's all. I know that he would normally do this, so normally I would have some tsampa, and I would give him the tsampa to him because I knew he didn't have anything. And then I said, no, please, I don't need. So he would take from the drukchuma, little bit part of it, and he will eat of it. Because the drukchuma has this red thing from the torma. He slowly he would eat some parts of it, part of the offering. Oh, his clothes were completely full of the same clothes. He would never change clothes ever. So his clothes was full of these small insects. Shik. So he was the disciple of Geshe Thubten. He was the disciple of Geshe Thubten. He wrote a long letter for Geshe Thubten. It's the one that his disciples always decide. His name was Kyaje. He was originally from Tepa, from Arikamsa. He knew very well the teachings of the text. He really had a very good understanding. He would never get sick. He would never be in a state of suffering. Genshin protection from my same class, he would say, in my class, like such as Kyaje, some such great practitioners, such great, but no one really helping them. There are many great houses in the Kamsen, people with more money. No one was really helping him. He was himself not asking for help also. He would never say, I'm too tired, too difficult. He would never at all, just living happily with nothing. He knew very well the teachings, and he would always come to the pujas and to the debates. He was not putting entering too much into debate. He would, if you go to debate, he would say, I know I don't understand anything, I don't understand much. He would just stay by his side reflecting. But even though he had great knowledge, his name was Kyaje. He was incredibly, he was just eating the drukchuma, the torma offering that was done daily. He was eating that every day, nothing more than that. It is such a precious human rebirth that he has that we're not able to do in the same way. Truly not. Truly not. Even though we have the same human body, it's not really the same. The great must have a very stable body. They're able to put effort and to perseverance. Such human rebirth. When we have the 18 qualities, it's not always the same for everyone. So what you say, the mind and the body with great strength. This is something special for the great practitioners. After that, there is a part of recognizing the certainty of death, the impermanence of death. If we're not able to think about death, we don't think about the Dharma. If we don't think about that, we don't think about the Dharma. We don't think about the Dharma. Even if we think a little bit of the Dharma, we don't really practice well if we don't think really about that. The benefits of thinking about it. There are many benefits of thinking about it. It's of great benefit to reflect upon that. We have a lot of attachments to this life. The antidote for that is to think about that itself. Is the antidote for the attachment towards this life. If we have too much attachment to this life, but if we really think about death and impermanence, then this we'll be able to go beyond such attachment. Like this, showing how to take correct refuge. The actual entrance to the teachings of Buddha is taking correctly refuge. Taking refuge is extremely important since the very right moment in the morning is of great benefit. And also the root of all happiness, which is developing through trust in the law of cause and effect. By having faith in the law of cause and effect of karma, if we really need to have faith into the karma and the law of karma, it's not something that we can change or we can eliminate the law of karma. Not something that we can go beyond out of. So we really need to trust the law of karma. It's very important from one side. By accumulating virtuous actions, there will be the results of happiness and well-being. By doing unvirtuous actions, there will be the result of negative and of suffering. Also, there are many things about correctly taking refuge. As it said in the Lam Rim, understanding the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and the qualities of the Buddha, the qualities of body, speech, mind, quality, and action, and the qualities of the mind, such as love, compassion, and wisdom. When we go through the Lam Rim, the most easy things to understand we can go with Narayana. The more difficult things is we need to read again the teachings and the book, and like Liberation from Your Hand, and to understand it clearly we need to read again and again. This is something that we need to do that is very important. Then how to making also the offerings of one's own, putting into practice the teachings and external offerings and so on. Now he's explaining the part of relying correctly upon the law of karma, If we think about the karma, we need to think about the certainty of dharma, the fact that Lama increases, that without making the cause, we cannot have the result, that everything that we do, sooner or later, we will have the results. So, we need to understand this, we need to think about these four aspects. But that we need to reflect upon the law of cause and effect. It was important to develop trust in the law of karma. Without the trust in the law of karma, whatever we do will not be on the cause for enlightenment. It's very important to have by that trust in the law of karma. So, by that the certainty of karma, understanding the fact that every action that we do will have a result, and every result that we experience is a result of a karma that we have done in the past. He's not talking about the specific results of the qualities of the actions. One of them is having a strong strength of body and mind. In my same class there was one monk from Kampa. Very humble. I never said anything negative to anyone else I've never seen. And it was Champa. With great ability to put great effort. He would study really a lot. His teacher was Ganden Mahamudra. He would look from morning to evening, he would just study. He had a very small picture of his teacher. He would, up to night, 2, 3 o'clock, he would be studying. And you could never see him like sleeping during the night. Because he would not sleep so much, you could see his eyes, something different in his eyes. Because he would recite so much, he would lose his voice very often. He would only eat tsampa with water, not even having tea. It was in the Lhasa, when we would many things during the Lhasa time preparation. He would never do anything. He was very near to my room. I would go to him. In the Lhasa time, he would not do anything. And he would have no pots for cooking and nothing. He would just have a small pot where there would be some water. And he would just eat water with tsampa, nothing more than that. And the Lhasa, day one, it was just like any other time. When it was like the New Year, all the people would go up and down, try to do something. He wouldn't do anything. Really, with great strength of body and mind. You know, with all such difficulty, he would never be sick. He would never have any problem. To really to have such great strength of body and mind. But that really with great ability of being able to undergo hardships. So to have such great strength of body and mind. So even when we have the same human body, so they have difference of strength. The great beings, they normally have more strength in the body, both on mind and body. Now, is the antidote of how to purify the negativities. One of them is depending on emptiness, as when we saw in the Mahamudra. If we think well about the Mahamudra, this is a direct antidote to purify the negative karma. So after that, understand the next part is entering into the training of the mind of the medium scope, which is mainly thinking about the roots of samsara as the suffering of samsara and the costs of such suffering. Understanding until we do not develop a state of mind in which we will be free from these impure aggregates, until that we do not develop renunciation. We need to see our own impure aggregates as something to be abandoned. From that we need to develop the certainty of the definitive emergence, that we must get out of this samsara, which is not something that is outside. We need to understand samsara is not outside, samsara is within us. Samsara is our own impure aggregates, is the actual samsara. We need to think about by that to develop the correct renunciation. And understanding the causes of suffering, which is both karma and defilements, from which defilements is the main one. Then by that, after understanding, also understanding samsara by reflecting upon the 12 links of interdependence. When Kyaje Rinpoche was teaching me, I remembered that. Remember the way how he was explaining. He was like one like a normal, like a monk that is studying, and that through the 12 link of interdependence he needs to develop renunciation. Those that have not studied, it's difficult to develop renunciation through the 12 links of interdependence. If you really study well, then you need really to develop renunciation through the 12 links of interdependence. Like Geshe Thubten, he trained into the gradual path by the 12 links of interdependence. Geshe Thubten, he trained his mind mainly through training himself into the impermanence and death, and by that he gained high realizations. So Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang will tell me this. So for those that have studied better, it's very important to reflect more about the 12 link of interdependence. How the samsara is created, how ones get trapped within the samsara, and so on. So when I think about and enters into the path of the greater scope, which is how to develop the state of bodhicitta, and once developing bodhicitta, how to practice the path of the bodhisattva first, understanding that bodhicitta is the only pathway, gateway to enter into the path of the Mahayana. By developing the bodhicitta will help us to accumulate great merits and purify from all interferences. Whatever your wishes will be fulfilled, and you will happily, quickly reach the realizations of the path and the Bliss, and become a source of happiness for sentient beings. All this is the qualities of developing bodhicitta. So there are 10 different benefits of developing the mind of bodhicitta. Having the name of being the son of the Buddhas, becoming an object of offering, accumulating merit easily, purifying negativities quickly, fulfilling one's own wishes easily, being protected from interferences, easily gaining the realizations of the path in the Bumis, and being able to become a source of happiness for other sentient beings. If we think about these benefits, then we'll develop more joy in order to develop bodhicitta. If we think about the benefits of bodhicitta, if we think, oh, there's this and that benefits about taking bodhisattva, that this will help us to develop that state of bodhicitta. It's incredible, the benefits. It's, for example, becoming the source of the happiness for sentient beings. Becoming an excellent field of offerings oneself. There's the benefits of the bodhicitta, such as being the source of happiness and well-being for sentient beings. So, as it was said here, by developing bodhicitta, you become an object of offerings, like a field of an excellent field for offerings, and the source of happiness for sentient beings. And here there is a way how to train on the bodhisattva, on the bodhicitta mind, by the 7 cause and result, and by equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. So first by equalizing and then exchanging oneself with others. And thinking about, first of all, the faults of selfishness from different points of view. We say to exchange oneself with others. Training the mind by equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. First equalizing oneself and then exchanging. First need to equalize oneself, then we need to exchange oneself. And by that we need to train the mind. When we talk about equalizing, to see oneself and others, we all wish happiness and we all wish to be free from suffering in the same manner. There is no difference from us and others in this way. Not only we are equal, but we also need to exchange. What it means in this moment, our own self is something very precious, and the other is something that we have, we are indifferent. So we need to exchange these two minds, which is we need to abandon the mind of selfishness and not to think only about the self. Only myself need to be given less importance, give importance to others. We need to hold others and abandon oneself in this sense. It's not possible to talk about bodhicitta, develop bodhicitta, if we are just in a selfish attitude, holding only to oneself. So we need to think on the faults of selfishness from different parts and thinking on the benefits of altruistic attitude from different perspectives. Now we see ourselves only as the main when we abandon others. We need to turn it. We need to really give importance to others, to cherish others, and we need to abandon only the self-cherishing mind or the own mind only thinking about one's own self. So it's very difficult to develop the mind, but slowly as we think more and more about it, when we become more familiarized with it, and we place good imprints in our mind at least. So gradually we can get familiarized with it. Generally speaking, by there is also here then explaining the way how to practice as one together, how to unite the way of the 7 points of 7 cause and result, and the equalizing and exchanging self with others, how to put these two together. So by first developing equanimity and then equanimity, and then recognizing its sentient beings and developing gratitude and wanting to repay the question, then equalizing self with others, then exchanging oneself with others, and by that developing the determination to help others, and from that bodhicitta, so that uniting the two systems together. So if we to practice Lam Rim, we need to memorize the subjects, and then we need to meditate upon it. We need to think about it following as the subjects. And it's easier if we need to think mainly about the subjects. The outline of the Lam Rim, that's very important to understand and to meditate on it. The next second part is how to act in accordance to the bodhisattva, how to behave in accordance to the path of the bodhisattva. How to ripen one's own mind, how to make one's own mind to ripen to the ones, how to make it easily to act in accordance to virtue. So by that it means to ripen one's own self. Then how to ripen, in order to ripen others, how to help others' mind to be in accordance with the Dharma is a little method for that. So to ripen one's own mind, there are the 6 perfections, and to help to ripen other minds, there are the 4 actions. The first one, we have how to train in generosity, morality, patience, and effort, concentration, and wisdom. And then in the generosity we have the generosity of giving dharma, of giving protection, of giving materially, of giving love. And we have the different types of morality. If we are able to practice well morality, then whatever virtue we can practice, this will be the practice, the virtue of accumulating virtuous actions. Then there's the virtue, the morality of how benefiting others, and the morality of avoiding negative actions. Then we have patience also here. There are 3 different types of patience, which are placed here. The patience of dealing well with harm, with suffering, and the ability to hold on in order to practice the Dharma. So the certainty, I'm not going to react with anger and aggressivity. Whenever I'm found in front of a difficult condition, an object of aversion, I'm not going to react with anger. That's the real way of practicing patience. So that's normally when we just talk about it, we just generate the motivation to practice patience. We truly practice patience when we are in front of an object of anger. And we are able not to react to such aggressivity. All of this is extremely detailed in the great exposition on the stages of the path to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa, the Lam Rim. All of this is extremely detailed in the Lam Rim. Next we have the effort, such as the effort like an armor. So first we need to put the armor of the mind. Such as in the prayers that we were doing. May I be able to put effort until the end of samsara. This is the effort like an armor. May I be able to act for the benefit of ascension beings until the end of samsara. This is like the effort like an armor. There are different ways of the effort like an effort. Then there is the effort to accumulate virtue, the effort to benefit sentient beings. When we think about in the great exposition of the Lord of Lama Tsongkhapa, there is incredible way of explaining of effort. But even though I read many times, I always forget. Even if I read today, tomorrow I forgot already again. If we think about all these different forms of effort, such as the effort like an armor, or they want to accumulate virtue to help sentient beings, and to abandon the different forms of laziness, the normal form of laziness. The first type of laziness is the one that, I cannot do, I'm not able. Then there's the other one said, since the beginning, oh, I'm not able to do, I'm not going to do. Then the one is that you get used to to meaningless things in order to not to do important things. As it says in the Semanandra, most beings, they don't have so much basis of intelligence, of wisdom. So it's explaining clearly the faults in this text of the Semanandra. Next, let's talk about the concentration, which we have the concentration such as shamatha and vipassana. Different types of concentration of shamatha. The one is from the doors of all directions. From all directions. What direction say it's from this side or from that side? It's from like non-Buddhist, or this is Buddhist, then it's from inside of Buddhist. This is from other religions and so on. When we talk about sides or directions, it has also this meaning of groups or sides. Oneself and others. We say that the samadhi that is from all, or from the directions, different directions, is from all different traditions. Because, for example, the development of shamatha, we have both in Buddhist and in non-Buddhist traditions. It's in both sides, of Buddhists and non-Buddhists. Let's say the side of developing shamatha and vipassana and the union of shamatha and vipassana, something that is common both at Buddhist and non-Buddhist traditions. And the sixth is developing of wisdom, the wisdom of realizing the ultimate reality, the relative reality, and the wisdom that benefits sentient beings. The second is the four actions in order to mature, to ripen other sentient beings. First is to speak, to be generous. Second, to speak in a general way. Third is that as you speak, you should act. Now he's explaining how to practice on the concentration and how to develop shamatha and vipassana and wisdom. Here now he's explaining into the 9 levels of shamatha and other things. So we have already read this the other day during the Mahamudra teachings. So here we are just going through the subject. Here it is quite clear. I have already read this the other day. So to creating the causes for shamatha, there are many causes for the calm abiding. It's like being in a place which is favorable, having small attachments, being satisfied, not having many distractions, having a pure morality, and abandoning all the mental distractions. Being in a place which is favorable, having small attachments, and having few attachments and being satisfied. When we have too many attachments and we have no satisfaction, then it's not possible to develop concentration. Abandoning all the distraction of many actions, having a pure morality, and abandoning all the different constant wandering thoughts of based on attachment is the basis to develop the shamatha or the calm abiding. As I say in the text called again, there are 6 methods in order to develop the state of shamatha. Second is explaining how to train on the profound view of vipassana. Realize this. All of this already came when the explanation of the Mahamudra, how to meditate on the samadhi-like space, and then on the samadhi, and how to develop the samadhi like an illusion. And that in order to first there is the realization of the lack of inheritance of self and then of phenomena, by that is here understand the logics of understanding the lack of inherent existence of the self. And then realizing the lack of inherent existence of phenomena, such as of the permanent over the impermanent phenomena. So with this we have completed all the subjects of training into the mind of the Mahayana path, of the greater scope. So in this way, it is there is not much to say. It's a very, very small explanation of the subjects. It's just like without losing it, we're like going through the subjects, giving the transmission, then I give a very, very small, simple explanation based on the subjects of the Lam Rim. If we go there is no, for not to go on very details. I myself, I cannot remember everything, I cannot remember all. With this today, we have completed like the end, the last day of these teachings. We gave the explanation of the Mahamudra, and then the Bardo Chandral, and today the subjects of the Lam Rim. This is all very special. It's extremely good. Most of all, speaking truth, this is through the kindness of Lama Rinpoche. It's based through his kindness, of the kindness of Lama Rinpoche, that we are all here, that all of this has been possible. I don't need to say that, you all know that. As we have said the days before, we are in a very great place with all the this, like we are in Europe, in Italy, in the center of Lama Rinpoche, Panchen Losang, in such a good Dharma center. Not only that, in such an incredible temple with thousands of Buddhas. It's really, really very special temple. It's really incredible temple. Pretty full of the merit, fields of merit. We have a very special, we have an excellent assembly of lamas, of geshes, of monks, of lay practitioners. An assembly of all people that are really truly able to fulfill one's own objects and the objects of others. For such an excellent assembly, with such an excellent Dharma, with the Mahamudra of the Ganden whispered lineage. And this is the subjects of the Lam Rim. It's really an incredible, excellent Dharma. If we think about the time, we start in the month of Sakadawa, the month in which Buddha reached enlightenment. So from every perspective, we're in a very excellence with 5, 6, 7 excellences together. It's incredibly good. At this time that we have such good opportunities, we have been able to gain all of this, all of it very, very good. Generally speaking, for the teachings of Buddha to be spread and developed, especially for the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa, in order to remain for long, especially are the teachings of the whispered lineage of Lama Chopa that came to the lineage of Kyaje Trijang and Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang. May these teachings be really stable. It's now in this moment it's already spreading well. May it continue to spread and be stable. And may everyone be able to practice it, and may all the practitioners between them be with unity and friendship between each other. With such right thinking in this way. We have, when we make a great merits, we need to dedicate for enlightenment. When we have small merits, we need to dedicate it for enlightenment also, for the benefit of the sentient beings and the teachings. It is very important to do that. Generally speaking, in Europe, the Dharma is spreading well, but like these days, there's such type of situation where we have incredible masters, also many great masters together to teaching is extremely rare. This opportunity as we're having right now is extremely rare. And all of this mainly is due to the kindness of Lama Rinpoche and all the sponsors. As you know, the sponsors they're all very kind. So the sponsors of the Dharma, may all they be fulfilled with in all their activities, be with a good health, a mental happy mind, a good health, and may their all objectives be fulfilled without interferences, just as it said. And as I said in the Guru Puja, may all be able to fulfill their momentary and ultimate objectives, and may auspiciousness come spontaneously. It's important for us to think in this way. It's very important to think in this way. It's almost impossible to have such opportunity as the one we are having right now. Generally speaking, from the great monasteries such as Seda and so on, it's very good in all these places. But in Europe, to have such opportunity like this is extremely rare. It's extremely rare. And this moment that we are all gathered together here is extremely good. It's extremely good. So just as we make our prayers, as we think in this way, as I was explained before, there is not much more for me to say. May all that I have said, please kindly put it into practice. All I have said, we dedicate here all the merits that we have accumulated for the benefit of sentient beings and for the teachings of Buddha. Especially may the teachings of Buddha remain for long in this world and for the benefit of sentient beings. Okay, good reading. Dedication from So please, all those listening to the teachings, please listen clearly. So today especially, during this day, Geshe Thubten Trinley had made special offerings during every day of the teachings. So he dedicates for the teachings to spread in all directions. Dedicated for the long life of all the gurus of our lineage, such as Kyaje Rinpoche, as Kyaje Trijang Dorje Chang, Kyaje Ganche Rinpoche, Kyaje Yongye Rinpoche, and also Geshe Rinpoche, Geshe Thubten Trinley, and all the great masters present, and all those listening to the teaching especially. May they all have a long life, and may all their wishes be fulfilled. May all the practitioners be united in friendship. May the holy actions of the masters spread. Especially in this world, may all sentient beings be free of suffering, of hunger, of sickness, of war. May all live in harmony and friendship and peace. At this time, the sponsor from the Panchen Center, from all the disciples of the Panchen Center, may all those. So for that have been especially to every monk, 10 euros every day during the teachings, and also giving the offer of food during the 6 days for a total of around 12,000 euros that have been offering during these whole days. So please everyone, please dedicate all the merits for, and please make your dedications for all the sponsors of this event. So please make the prayers as was requested. So now, we make now the mandala offering as a sign of gratitude for having received this precious offering, precious teachings from Geshe Thubten Trinley Rinpoche. So, what would you like to say? Tomorrow in Buche will have a day of rest. Then the day after tomorrow, as was said, there will be long life puja, which Guru Puja accepted. So day after tomorrow we have a long life prayer. As the long life puja takes some time. So tomorrow we will again will have some rest, and the day after tomorrow we will make an offering of the long life puja. Let's get him, as he was staying in a practitioner and retreating in Daramsala, and then after, at the time, through the merits of Western, we had for inviting him to come here to the West, so we don't need to go into details on that, as he was staying for a long time in a retreat. So this is one subject, so we're very fortunate for him to be here with us in the West. And then continually, I'd like to continue today as the way of like a debate. So please, I would like to request to make 1-2 debates today. Yesterday, Venerable Anandudra, when he was talking openly to you, I don't know, innerly, or what do you think? Normally in the debate, we make debate 1-1. So they have their own way of making stuff, so this, they're having also a way of debating like 1-1, but in a peaceful, like different way, like normally when we do a debate, it's important for you to know like this dialogue, as he's doing the inner dialogue. So today I would like to make some debates, also it's also good for him. He will also see, oh, not only I do dialogue, they also have their own way of making dialogue. He will also see in his own way. So this is one way which is also important. The other thing that we remember, I will say. So today also, Alfredo also will be giving some speech today. So has many things to share, to say, so maybe we do half today, half tomorrow if it's very long, or we do everything today. Also, as Kundalini Rinpoche needs to translate, maybe it will be tiring for him, so maybe we do half, we will check. So it's still under some people that need still to give their own speeches. Then on the 21st of June, there is some monks coming from the Dhammakaya monastery in Thailand, and they will give their own speeches or meditation and so on. They like to show some, maybe should say show some movies or whatever. At that time, most probably Rinpoche would have already left, so the other ones of us will be here. Some of the ordained Sangha will go into some other teachings of Ganden Rinpoche, so please you go whatever you need to go in time. Just be careful, just to be back on the right time. So we talk about, generally speaking, we talk about my birth. My birthday is not important. The important is to be back on the right time to go back to India regarding the visa. So some of them is on the 8th of July, others on the 9th of July. This need to be precise. Otherwise it's not. It's very difficult for us to make project in the future if we're not able to that. So. So as we go very auspiciously, as everyone have come, and as we go back on the right time, as Lama Chopa have opened this way through the Tibetan Buddhist Union to make business for everyone, and so on and so on. Especially those that have come from very far away, I don't know precisely the name of each everyone. So everyone that need to go live, those that need to live on the 8th need to reach here on the 7th, those that need to live on the 9th must reach here on the 8th back. For those that will be here, I will continue to do pujas, that is endless, we have always pujas to do. But those that needs to go, as was already said before, so day after tomorrow there's the long life puja of Rinpoche. So Rinpoche must have a long life. such, even if it is difficult for him to stay here for a long time, give it teachings, but really thinking about the teachings of the Buddha, really giving importance for the Dharma. That's really why I come here, putting effort. I am a person that I'm all life having with hope. So because I had hope on Geshe Rinpoche, he came here based on my request, and for the Geshe and for all the students and the lamas and monks that here from all the monasteries such as Sergio and Pirgelin, Serpong, Sharganda, and from Mongolia and from many different countries. So the essence of our hope is that may the son be better than the father, may the grandson be better than the son, and like this, and so on, so on. We really must think in a way. I would not need to think that was. You all need to practice well. You really need to do well. So please, all of you, keep in mind, if anyone is really sharing the Dharma, giving teachings, and we will sure be of support for you, and independent of how big or small it can be, we will be there of support for you. I think in that way. And all at the same time, all the other practitioners that have come, modern people that have come here, some people that go through their life by making normally like the normal ways of sadhanas and so on. Some people that practice the sadhanas which I have taught of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, of the self-healing. Some people which go through way of how to adapt teachings of Buddha within one's own culture and life, how to abandon a violent way of life, and how to develop a way of life which is peaceful and more in accordance with peace. So I have many disciples which also go in this direction. For instance, today, Rabbi Alfredo is really waking up very early in the morning and meditating, and one whole life abandoning any form of food that is harmful for beings, such as meat and milk and other forms. We met originally in the world, in the United Nations, as he was one of the most important speakers from the World Bank, speaking in the tradition. I myself was just from a small organization, I was just listening to his speech. He was there giving like he was the main speaker in the middle of many people, so he came down in the middle of this. When he came down, he came to talk to me in the middle of this big interference. So he said, today I'm going to talk about spirituality. So as you're here, Lama, so I'd like to ask permission to you first. I didn't know him at the time. First time that I saw him. So really, I saw someone with great respect and with a really great spiritual practice, but following one's own way. For example, Lama Michelle and Lama Caroline is really following one system, and Freda is following his own system, which is also very good. Because normally, we are not able really to reach and to talk with people that are in the high levels of society. People like Alfredo is really able to talk to people like from equal to equal. This is also something that is very important. I think can be a great messenger of Buddha. And follow you young ones. Really, I hope you can do much more and better in any parts of the world, in China or anywhere. So please keep all this into mind. Most important was about the long life puja day after tomorrow. Thank you very much. Now we do the long life prayer of Geshe Thubten Trinley.
Jie Ga Ye Jian De Bo Jie Ni Ge Dang Zhen Bi Da Jie Jian Bi Jian Jie Mi De La Ba Da Jie Ni Do Jie De Jie Sha De Ngue Wo Zo La De De Sang Zhe Xie Lo Nian Jiu Ji Wu Gong Zhuo Da Da Jie Zhuo Song Jie Lo La Lang Do Nan Bi De La Su An Yu Jie Dang Din Bi Do Jie Zha Si Jie Ning Bo Jie 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 Bi Nian Jie Zao Zang Ju Jie Zhen Bo Mang Jia Yue Yang Ni Jian Bo Xiao Di Da Di Ga La Jia Yue Jian De Nian Jie Me Jiang Dang Xin Zha Bo Ka Yang Da Min Bi Jiang Le Jian Bi Jin Jie Dang Bi Lang Bo Su An Do Di Su Di Jin Bi Jian De Jie Do Di Jian Bi Di Bi Bo Na Song Ye Zao Wa Niang Na Ga Wa Li Jie Guang Da Jian Bi Xian 明我皆上业，造我念别灭尽，所以业大多见别皆老所。若莫见界杀业当年报，自己见界杀业当报，见别见别见的都见。我念这些老母小弟说，多的本子觉得高档。今年小年年绝绝狼样，南北高地正老苏汉的，绝绝狼北高在南地界，那个这。也莫那罗萨天别真别萨萨，你没在大多年交接，这的见面就过，你也那么这些些年了，下这些年日新天也大。 点到安住呀，点点到别的做一年高呀，到了阳包，高也啥也包也的，罗也灭马你给到阳着我也，那么这也叫也我也包也大也着也。 你毛也是别也是多也贵多呀，家也别养姐姐也姐做的，爹也别也爹也毛过也做老妈姐。 你也做别也接也闹你也接也就，然也接也多别老妈接你，学也找也接也找别也多也给去，若也接灭也报也接也接也。 家也爹也妈也爹也这也着也爹也妈也爹也爹也着也妈也着，家也家也娘也妈也家也别也说也着也，你爹也爹也别也老也爹也妈。 别爹也爹也爹也是，我也接也把也就，这也接也家也别也做也接的，你也做也长也做也老也接也别也就，你那么接也老别也着也就。 家也爹也妈也多也着也着也就，老也少也着别也爹也接也着也接也就，我也接也接也接灭也大也灭也灭也归，接着也归也多也着也我也妈也。 那么也大也老也多也接，我也妈也着也接，高也接也爹，妈也着，老也接也接也接，接也接也着，老也接也妈也爹也接。爹那么接大也多也着也接接，大也接家做着。
Nene